As you already know, Brexit did not happen immediately after the Brexit referendum in 2016. There were exhausting negotiations between the UK and the EU, first about the exit of the UK and then about the future relationship between the EU and the UK. After the official Brexit on January 31st in 2020, where the UK officially left the EU and with it the Parliament, thank you by the way, we don't have to deal with Nigel Farage anymore, there was a transitional period until December 31st in 2020 to implement the new relationship. There are indeed some longer transitional periods for some areas, but this was the most important one. And people are talking a lot about the level of preparations for Brexit on different sides, but especially the lack of preparation. And so in a few of my videos, overall 29, I will give you an overview about the extent of preparations by different countries involved, and of course the UK and the EU. And today I will tell you about the preparations in Romania. After the Brexit referendum in June 2016, in which the United Kingdom voted to leave the European Union, a period of uncertainty and negotiations followed. And Romania, like other EU member states, had to prepare for the implications of Brexit, particularly as it affected trade, citizens' rights, and various other aspects of the relationship between the UK and the EU. And as usual, I have some key aspects about Romania's preparations for Brexit for you today as well. Romania, as an EU member, had a significant trade relationship with the UK. After the referendum, Romanian authorities had to assess the potential impact on their economy and trade flows. They worked on contingency plans to mitigate any potential disruptions in trade or supply chains and the economic cooperation. One of the primary concerns was the status of Romanian citizens living and working in the UK, as well as the status of British citizens living in Romania. Both sides needed to clarify the legal framework for these individuals to ensure their rights were protected post-Brexit. And this involved, of course, negotiations between the UK and the EU. Romania, like other EU countries, had to prepare for the reintroduction of customs and border checks between the UK and the EU. And this required infrastructure improvements, personnel training, and adjustments to administrative procedures to handle customs checks efficiently. Romania had to assess how its various industries, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and services, would be affected by changes in regulations and standards resulting from Brexit. Businesses needed to be informed about potential changes to rules and procedures for exporting to or importing from the UK. And Romania, along with other EU member states, needed to adapt its legal and regulatory frameworks to reflect the absence of the UK as an EU member. This included updating agreements, treaties, and regulations that referred to the UK's membership. The Romanian government launched also a public awareness campaign to inform citizens, businesses, and stakeholders about the potential impacts of Brexit and the steps they needed to take to prepare. This included providing information about changes in travel, trade, and other aspects of the relationship with the UK. And Romania engaged in bilateral discussions with the UK to address specific issues of mutual interest and concern. These discussions covered a wide range of topics, including trade, security, and cooperation in various sectors. And Romania participated in EU-level negotiations and discussions to establish the future relationship between the UK and the EU. This involved addressing issues related to trade, security, and many other areas of cooperation. It's important to note that these preparations were not unique to Romania. They were part of a broader effort by all EU member states to adapt to the changing relationship with the UK as it transitioned out of the EU. The transition period allowed both sides to negotiate and implement the terms of their future relationship, including the TCA, before the end of 2020. And before the end of the Brexit transition period on December 31st in 2020, those Brexit preparations were considered highly important for all affected countries, both within the European Union and the United Kingdom. The transition period began after the UK officially left the EU on January 1st, 2020, and it indeed allowed time for both parties to negotiate their future relationship and to make the necessary arrangements. And because those arrangements do indeed differ on the different sides, that's why I'm making this little series. And if you want to know something more about Brexit or other UK politics right now, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.